All right, folks. So we got cut off, so we are continuing the show on record mode. So we're continuing on here. So in 2017, you will see the beginning. In 2022, you will see the beginning of the end, unless you all change. So have you seen that, Seth? So, in 2017, like I said, you will see the beginning. In 2022, you will see the beginning of the end, unless you all change. And that came straight from one of the alien races. Which that in itself is
I'd like to know.
That's kind of disturbing to me.
Yeah, because that's within both of our lifetimes. So long as the creeks don't rise, as the old expressions go.
Right.
Now, with that being said, by 2022, that would be when my boy graduates high school. So, oh God.
Right.
That's not long off. We got about six years on that. Now,
yeah.
have they
here it is.
Exactly so, what?
No, they don't. They're very quiet. They're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a riddle. So yeah, here's the Council of Five will become the Council of None, and then your planet will face the Council of Death. See, I don't like that. And who the hell do I think they are?
Ooh.
Yeah. So we kind of want it's in our best interest to support the Council of Five. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. I'm sitting there thinking that if we're supporting the Council of Five, I mean, all things considered in this world, I suppose, I mean, it'd be a hell of a lot better than the alternative that we're being faced with. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'd like to know what this Council of Death would consist of. I mean, obviously, when you look at and this book of races that we have, this is just the book of known races, and our universe is so big. There's no way of knowing exactly what the hell's out there.
Well,
we probably can't even be.
Even in the book of races, they say there's 185. There's more than just the races listed in this book.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and they even said that. So for those that didn't hear last week's or last show, the Council of Five consists of the Orela, the Egaro, the Jinvo,
mm-hmm.
the Raiden, and the Emerther. We've already covered the Emerther. What we're going to do tonight as well is cover the 22 races that seeded the planet. Thus the name of the show of Ancient Aliens. But real quick, now, the Council of Five, very little is known about them actually, and I'll try to uncover that for a future show. But the races that are a part of the Council, which was previously called the Council of Nine, has been protecting the Earth and the humans for as long as there are alien records of it. So, I mean, it goes way beyond that. Some say that they have been protecting the planet even before humans existed for millions of years. So, the last time this Council of Five met on Earth was in 1944.
Mm-hmm. Eisenhower.
Was it Eisenhower's the 50s, I thought.
Yeah. I'm thinking of
was that Truman?
Project Silk. I believe so.
Wasn't Truman? Because you know, there's also rumors that Truman also met with alien races. Truman and Eisenhower both. So, according
it was Roosevelt in 44.
Okay. So according to Dante and Petro, the ones that translated this book, they found a handwritten note in the Alien Races book that was dated July 2005, stating that the Council of Five was going to meet on Earth during the last 10 days of August of 2013. That was 3 years ago. Now, what I want to do when I get the chance is look up in Filer's files and see how much UFO activity increased in the last 10 days of August of 2013.
Okay. I can actually look that up right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So the same note
I'm
also...
going to Google.
Yeah, go ahead. The same note also mentioned the fact that the presence and arrival of those 5 races could cause cosmic events that can affect Earth's atmosphere. And also said that humans would be seeing an increase of alien ships during that period. So now, if we can verify that there was intense storms the last 10 days of August of 2013, along with the increase of UFOs, would validate that they were here.
Now, an interesting note that I found while we're on the research, I typed in the UFO activity for August 2013. Now, on August 31st of 2013, excuse me, the first headline I have, it says 3.1 mile comet Ison. We remember Ison.
Okay.
And people were saying Ison, Jesus' return, and all this and that. A 3.1 mile comet Ison being escorted by 2 UFOs toward Earth. UFO sighting news. The date of discovery, 31st August 2013.
Send me a link of that if you could.
The discovery, I will. It was discovered in September 21st, 2012. The source is by TM Leon satellite, August 23rd through the 29th. They have footage of that. It says they believe the 2 UFOs are hiding with the comet or escorting it, so to speak. There's multiple videos. Now, they say the comet was supposed to pass so close that it would be able to be seen with a telescope. Now, honestly, I remember the coverage of it. I don't remember the statistics, and I'm not going to shoot. I remember it being talked about in paranormal, this and that and whatnot. And this was way back when I was still listening to the other guys. But I'm going to send you the link to that in Facebook right now.
Okay. I'm not on Facebook right now, but I'll definitely get it.
Yep, it's there.
And so, continuation of the note.
You mentioned it. First thing
that pops up, and you know damn well that wasn't a comet. You know that. That just validates.
No.
That just validates that they met here on Earth. The note also states that the meeting of the council is to discuss possible threats to Earth and humans, as well as the fact that so many new, quote-unquote, alien races have been visiting Earth lately. By lately, the note states that means to the 5 for the past 500 years.
Wow.
So, according to several alien races, the Council of Five... Go ahead.
I was going to ask, you can finish your note and then respond, but to our understanding, as long as I had remembered, it was the Council of Nine, and I know they resized and downgraded, but I'm wondering in what time frame theirs versus ours, they went from 9 to 5. and how long it had just been the 5.
They don't go into that. But what I'm also curious is maybe the 4 that dropped are the threat to the Council of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to think about, and I might have answers with the more research I do. So the Council of 5 has monitored human evolution since primordial times. And I believe, and we'll get into that in the show, but I believe the Council of 5 were actually part of the 22 races that seeded the planet. For those that want to dig deeper into the Ancient Aliens, and I'm not talking about the TV show, I'm talking Ancient Aliens as in, look up Zechariah Sitchin, look up Eric von Daniken, and look up Jacques Vallée. Those are, to me, my opinion only, 3 of the top researchers of the true ancient alien theories. And I'm not even talking about the TV show. So they've monitored human evolution since primordial times, since humans were only a one-cell marine organism, and throughout all natural evolution, when humans became primate-like creatures and beyond, after the Anunnaki, aka the Anunnaki interference. So it sounds to me like the Council of 5 didn't like the Anunnaki and weren't part of that whole creation. If you go by that note.
Mm. That makes sense. Kind of like sitting on the sidelines with their stick in the pot, so to speak.
Right. The pointy sticks.
Involved.
They were. So according to those same alien races.
Slightly.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
All evolutionary.
Affiliated, but not necessarily.
Yeah, affiliated, but it doesn't sound like they were friends either.
Mm.
So all evolutionary sequences in all planets have a beginning and an end, with the exception of minor details due mostly to radical weather change. After the Anunnaki tampered with the DNA of primates and created humans, the Council of 5 decided to not only monitor, but also to protect us. As they realized that one day humans would be able to join other alien races in development and enlightenment. So, we've covered the Emerther. And we already,
Now, for me, the other races were very hard to find anything on, except for the fact that they were part of the 5. I've read about slight technological advancements that each one had. To my understanding, some of them, I mean, first you have to define technology as anything that we use beyond ourselves for any type of advancement or advantage in life for whatever reason. So, I mean, our grasp of what we call technology and what they call technology, or what they would consider to be technological in their terms, people have to understand that we at first couldn't fathom that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the first thing that comes to everybody's mind when we discuss the alien technologies is everybody gets that image of, like, you know, the Star Wars ships flying through and the lasers and stuff like that. But it's more than that. And I know, like, the last episode we discussed it, and I said, you know, like, when Betty and Barney Hill were abducted, how they did the amniocentesis on her.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were testing her amniotic fluid. They were telling her what was going on. You have to understand some of these technologies. I mean, it's like what we perceived as magic back in the day, and what we still may perceive as magic. I mean, maybe to them something. Maybe they've learned a motion, like we have Reiki and the healing with that. I mean, you look at that years ago, that would be considered a form of magic. As an extension beyond yourself to do something, I almost consider that a form of paranormal technology, so to speak. So when you think about these things, I consider a telepathic communication and, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and things like that. I consider that a form of paranormal, supernormal technology.
Indeed.
So when we get in that mindset, when you get in that mindset, I know that they said that the Emerthers kind of have everybody else in check. In other words, like, we can destroy you. I don't know if it's a numbers game or a technological game, but I know they were kind of calling the shots in the 5. But they said even though they had the best technology out of all of them, it didn't make sense to me that they said that the I forget which race it was. Maybe you can clarify. But okay, the Emerthers had the technology to take everybody out.
Right.
But who was it that they said had the oldest technology? Because that confused the hell out of me. And I'm thinking if anybody can elaborate on that, that would be you.
Oh, and I think that was the Emerther. I think the Emerther had the top technology because they had one weapon. If I remember right, the Emerther had one weapon, and that's all they needed. And they actually took out most of the Mater ships at one point in time because the Mater actually attacked them. And I may be mistaken here. I have to look it up. But they only needed one weapon. And you know what comes to mind is the 5th element. That one race that came down with all 5 elements that protected the planet. That's what comes to mind when I think of the Emerther. I don't know why. That's just what I kind of picture. Now, you still with me?
I am still with you.
Okay. I'm making sure. So, according to
I'm here. I was hanging on
According to Alex Collier, and I don't have any of his books. I just have some of the research I found through the 22 races. But Alex Collier and his research of 22 races contributed to the seeding of the planet through DNA manipulation. Now, on February 20th, 1954, a delegation of human-looking ETs met with Eisenhower unsuccessfully, as we wouldn't remove our nuclear weapons. And the 22 races, we'd have to kind of verify, which is kind of hard, because we don't know much about the Council of 5, not enough. But the 22 races came from Lyra, Vega, the Pleiades, Sirius, Procyon, Tau Ceti, Umo, Andromeda, and Arcturus. Now, which star system did the abduction from Betty and Barney Hill come from? Do you remember? That was Zeta Reticuli, I believe, wasn't it?
Zeta Reticuli. It was Zeta Reticuli. I remember because I studied that case very well, and Betty recalled them drawing a star map and saying, "Look, we are here."
And that was fascinating in that star system wasn't found for 20 years after she had drawn that star map.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. They didn't find it until after, and people looked at it like, oh, because at first so many people at the time were saying, well, people still say it's made up, it's, horse shit, all this and that. But it's funny that her drawing almost identically matched the constellation and, the best way she could put it. She gave roadmap directions, so to speak, and then the coordinates matched everything that she had to a scary detail.
And bear in mind, this was back in the 1950s when the Betty and Barney Hill case happened. And for anyone listening, just do a Google search for the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. And that was the first case of hypnotherapy. That was before David Jacobs was doing hypnotherapy. And I don't condone hypnotherapy. for the simple fact that it can open doors with the abductee that you might not want to face. The second reason I don't really condone hypnotherapy is because if you have the wrong therapist, they can ask leading questions, and it's been shown that a normal person that's never been abducted can walk into a hypnotherapist and walk out completely believing they're an abductee, even though they've never been abducted. So be real careful with hypnotherapy.
Not only that, but I do have to say that you never know, and this may sound tinfoil hattish, but I don't care. You never know exactly what their agenda is and who they may or may not be working for. You never know if there's someone above them who says, hey, if you get any reports of this, you're to turn it over to me. And then the next thing you know, Coop's asleep, and I'm going to say, and now, Eric, you are going to say that this is a bad dream? You did not get abducted by an alien. It was the ice cream that you ate last night. And then Coop comes on the radio and he says, well, it wasn't an alien. It was the ice cream that I ate last night.
Exactly. The ice cream man is the abductee.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
take that in consideration.
Moving to Zeta Reticuli real quick. They're also known as the Shambhala, and they're often confused with the Major and the Calypsi Ray due to their appearance. They come from the constellation Nets, N-E-T-S, and they are allies of the Anunnaki and cooperate with them on different planets. They are representatives of the Anunnaki on Earth and send them information about humans and this planet at least 25 times a year. The Anunnaki created a subspecies of the Zeta with the purpose of making them more human-like, but leaving enough differences that humans would distinguish them. They became some of the pharaohs of Egypt, with the most well-known Akhenaten. He was removed from power by the reptilians. We've gone over this in other shows, but I'm bringing this up again because it has to do with the 22 races. The reptilians who infiltrated themselves in the court as temple priests. First reports of Zetas on Earth go back to 4000 AD, but that number is most likely higher. They were the first hybrids engineered by the Anunnaki. The Zeta subspecies still exist on Earth, and at least 30% present the same physical differences created. So now we're going to move on to Vega. The Vega star system. And what we're doing is we're going over the star systems that are mentioned within the 22 races. Now, the Vega star system, according to Billy Meyer. Now, what's cool about this is all the shows that we're doing that cover different topics that correlate. Because you'll hear about Billy Meyer in our Contactee show that we did last year. And that's why it's funny. And I don't mean funny as in a joke. I mean, that's what's cool about this book. And that's what, when I vet something, I was in awe, and I still am in awe, in that this book was written back in the 40s, the 50s. And when I first started reading the book, I'm always skeptical at first. But for one, the guy that translated this book was offered like $30,000 to publish it. And he said, no, I'm not going to take your money because this book needs to be free. It needs to be offered to the public for free. Which is why I can download it and print it and whatnot for free. Because he didn't take any money. It's not copyrighted. And looking at all these races in this book, and I've been researching UFOs and abduction for over 20 years. And I'm looking at this book, and there's cases of some of these races where it's actually mentioned that they crashed in this certain country, they crashed in this state, and I'm going, damn. I actually researched that case 10 years ago, before I even knew about this book. So, you look at that, and you go, if this is a hoax, it's one hell of an elaborate hoax because someone took years to put all this information together. If it's a hoax, which to me it's not a hoax. To me, it's the real deal.
And that would also mean that a lot of people did some time skipping and interfere with things.
Exactly.
When you look at timelines on certain things, events, certain races, really, if you do your homework, you see that there's so many paths that cross on this, and that's why this alien races book it's detrimental. It's a must-have to anyone who's investigating it, and it's a cool tool for anybody who's just curious.
Well, and to me, like I told you before the show, this is a baseline. I'm going to take this book, and it's going to be twice to 3 times the size it is now, just based on other research I've done. And I'm going to take the actual UFO cases that are documented and add them to the book under those specific races. I mean, it's going to be elaborate when I get done increasing this book. But yeah, Billy Meyer. Back in the 40s and the 50s, Billy Meyer was talking about the Vega star system. Because he is a contactee. And according to Billy Meyer, another race in the Vega star system visited him from within the Lyra constellation. The Vagans are a darker or blue-skinned race of humans, and possibly the blue race mentioned in the Vedic texts, from which the Hindu gods Vishnu and Krishna derived from. So, you take that and you go, well, there's the beginning of religion. There's the beginning of the Hindu religion.
Oh, yeah.
So the Brazilian contactee...
And I also have...
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I have to interject here because when we're talking about the Council of Five, we're talking about these races, and you just mentioned the deep blue aliens, or blue-skinned humans, essentially. And the first thing that comes to mind, if you're familiar with the Green Lantern comic,
right,
the aliens who oversee the whole Green Lantern Corps, the Owens.
Mm-hmm.
If you look them up, that's OANS. They are from the planet Oa, and their height is about 3'10". Their weight is roughly about 135 pounds. They're green-eyed with white hair and blue skin, and there are 5. Get this, 5 main aliens in this council, and they oversee the entire universe. And who do they have looking after everybody? The Green Lanterns. Who are the Green Lanterns? They're essentially aliens from every part of the universe. And Hal Jordan, even though he's a human to us, if he goes to another planet, that makes him an alien.
Right. And that's what's
it makes
cool.
You wonder,
That's what's cool about movies. You look at movies and you think fiction. Well, there's a little grain of truth to most movies. They got their idea from somewhere.
Yes. Some people would say, well, maybe that's where they got the idea of the Council of Five. I'm thinking, well, maybe that's the only way that someone knew something could present it to us without another someone, zapping their family's guts out and trailing them across the woods.
Right.
Maybe that's their way of saying, look, these things are here. It's like when you teach your kids about lying, what do? You tell them the story. Oh, the boy who cried wolf. You don't tell your kid, don't go being a damn liar. You say, oh, well, the boy who cried wolf, and then the wolf ate him. Oh, well, here's a cool story about aliens. And then you grow up and you're like, well, holy hell.
Yep.
To take that into consideration, you can continue. It's just I had to interject there because I have a few notes that correlate with what we're talking about here.
Oh, yeah.
So, go ahead.
So, Brazilian contactee Jefferson Souza also claims he met the Vagans from Lyra, whom he described as looking like natives from India. According to Collier, Vega was the first star system in Lyra to be occupied by humans. So initially the first Lyrians and Vagons came to Earth 22 million years ago, but they stayed here briefly as they traveled to other planets and star clusters. They traveled back here occasionally checking on the Earthlings, and several million Lyrians and Vagons traveled back approximately 389,000 years ago to mingle with the Earthlings. So if you look at that, you look at, one of many races. So again, looking at Fifth Element, looking at the Egyptians, looking at the Romans, and you see a big bright light in the sky coming down. Now, you're going to see that as God. Look, God's coming back. He flies. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, the results of the Vagons and the Lyrians interbreeding with the humans parallels that in the book of Enoch, where the Nephilim intermarried with humans and produced a race of giants that eventually died off.
Mm.
Now, there's arguments, though, within different UFO and alien circles about who the Nephilim were and who, either way, they're alien. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Which race it was? Who knows? Now, the Vagons, relatively peaceful and gentle humans who descended from refugees of the Lyrian Wars and worked closely with other refugee colonists. They now live in the Pleiades, Wolf 424, and others. They are often described as dark-skinned Orientals, similar to the native residents of India. Vega was one of the first Lyrian civilizations to develop a unique identity, which assisted in seeding and colonizing many systems to include Altair, Centauri, and Orion. A standard Vagon is 6 to 7 foot tall, dark-skinned, sometimes copper-toned, non-Caucasian black hair, very large eyes with dark pupils, an iris and one lid. Blood is green. The other type is non-human. They are humanoid or mammal, yet their appearance is more insect-like or reptilian. Skin is dark, sometimes even with green or brownish tint. There's rebel groups of Vagons who are still manipulated and joining the Sirian group. Overall, they are very skilled creator gods and have seeded many planets in this sector of the universe. They're a very old race and probably one of the first in the Milky Way. On their home planet, they look very much like the Vulcans from Star Trek. There you go. Which is probably where the idea for the Vulcans came from. As said before, most Vagans still reside in the Vega star system and have nothing to do with the rebels. All right, got anything to interject on them?
Not exactly. I don't. I do have to say that some of this reminds me, and I did a program, it may be on my YouTube channel still, but regarding some of these alien races, it was around the time that you were discussing the alien races previously on S4. Mm-hmm. And as I was listening, I'm thinking it reminded me of the program that my son used to watch called Ben 10. And this is another thing in which I think, yeah.
I remember that.
I think that these races and things were pitched as a way, because, most of the time when we learn, a lot of the things that shape us happen before we're 10. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the age group, maybe that's, going to spark a child's interest. And I'm seeing some of these races, and honestly, there are some goofy things thrown in there. Like, there's one that's made completely out of a slime substance that has a gravity device that flies over him that helps him take shape. But there's some very real, like, he has a form where he turns into a gray alien. There's a form where he turns into a reptilian. There's a form where he turns into a tall white. And he's able to do this by means of a DNA sampling system that changes his body structure at will.
Yeah, manipulation of DNA, anyone?
Yes. And
Oh,
sometimes things happen like if he has a cold, for example, and his alien is a heat elemental alien. If he has a cold, well, all of a sudden, if he transforms into that alien is no longer a heat elemental, it's an ice elemental,
right.
and so on and so forth. But there's so much truth behind this, guys. When Coop is telling you about these races, and then I'm telling you, hey, look at this other source, the inspiration is drawn from the truth that they're there. And then on the other side, conspiratorial people, everybody's got that old argumentative uncle. And let's say, 30 years ago, if Coop would have said, well, I had these fellas in suits knock on my door with the sunglasses and the ties and all that, people are going to say, well, wow, that's been reported as the MIB.
Right.
Now, if I tell some of my friends now, well, look, these fellas knocked on the door, the suits, the ties, the glasses, they're going to say, bullshit, you watch that Will Smith movie. That's where you're getting that from.
Yeah.
That's because for everybody who's trying to secretly tell us the truth and secretly leave us a message, there are people who are putting the propaganda out there to make it look like a game, to vilify the work that the researchers have done, to vilify the work that people like us are still doing. And it's up to you, the listener, and the curious paranormal investigator, or the curious paranormal enthusiast, whatever you want to call yourself. It's up to you to know the difference. We can only give you information here on S4. It's up to you to determine whether or not it's raining or someone's pissing on your shoes.
Exactly. So now we have the Umites. This is a human species claiming to hail from the planet Umo. In the general area of Wolf 424, again, 14.6 light years from the Earth Sol system, possibly having ancient ties with the Lyrian colonies, in that the Umites from the planet Umo are like the Lyrians, the Pleiadians, said to be Scandinavian in appearance, and may therefore tie in with the Nordics or blonde species. They work closely with the Vagon humanoids.
Mm-hmm.
They played a significant role in disseminating scientific technical literature and objects through Spain, and then relayed to the rest of Europe in the 1960s and 70s from a base in a small town in the French province of Lower Alps. June 10th, 1967, in Madrid, they made an appearance after announcing 3 days prior to several UFO groups that they would appear. This was documented. You can probably Google that and find out. The goal of the Umites is one, helping scientists develop innovative technology for environmental issues. In 1973, they left Earth due to the threat of nuclear war. They left this message. For 30 years, we have studied your science, your culture, history, and civilization. All this information we have carried from your Earth to Umo in our titanium crystals, codified with data. We have demonstrated to you our culture and our technology in purely descriptive form, so you cannot convert them or realize them practically. We have done this because we note with sadness that you employ your sciences primarily for war and the destruction of your own selves, which continues as your principal objective. You're like children playing with terrible and dangerous toys, which will destroy you. We can do nothing. A cosmic law says that each world must take its own path, to survive or to perish. You have chosen the second. You're destroying your planet, annihilating your species, and contaminating your atmosphere and your seas until now this is irreversible. With sadness, we contemplate your insanity and understand that the remedy is only in yourselves. We cannot look forward a great distance into your future because your psyche are completely unpredictable and capricious, bordering on paranoia. As your elder brothers on this cosmos, we urgently desire with all our hearts your salvation. Do not destroy your beautiful blue planet, a rare atmospheric world that floats so majestically in space, so full of life. It is your choice. This is back in the 70s. Look at our planet today.
Wow.
Obviously, we didn't.
They knew what was.
Oh, God, yeah. And, I don't blame them. And, there's actually races in the book that came here one time, and they ain't been back. They don't want nothing to do with us. Do you blame them? I don't.
Nope. They didn't like the food.
Right? Lasagna had too much cheese on it. So now we have the Tausetians. This race is here to assist abductees with issues with the Greys. They have been victimized by the Greys themselves as a race and are here to help. Our military has a captured Tausetian from a crash retrieval near Phoenix, Arizona in 1961. Now, I wonder if that's the Kingman, Arizona crash, actually. Because I don't think Kingman's too far from Phoenix.
I wonder.
So, they named him Hank. The main reasons the Tausetians are here lie in raising awareness of how to deal with subversion of societies by ET races, identifying corrupt elites and institutions, uplifting human consciousness, and developing strategy for negating advanced mind control technique. The global solutions they offer are exposing government/financial corruption and elite manipulation, monitoring ET infiltration, deprogramming mind control and implant removal, promoting multidimensional consciousness, diplomacy, and conflict resolution. So, Arizona is a fascinating state. I've got Paul Bardell in Kingman, actually, and he's actually well versed in the Kingman, Arizona crash. And he's actually in Forest Moon. One of my really strong points of contact, we'll say, that lives in Kingman,
Now,
Arizona.
how do you spell this alien again?
Hold on a sec here. That was the Tausetian. Tausetians. Tausetian.
All right. Okay. Okay, now. Yeah, I'm thinking about these guys, and you said they're a support group for people who've been messed with, particularly by the Greys, and they were victimized by the Greys themselves. You think about it, if they're a support group for people who deal with this, and you have your team of your clairvoyance and your astral team, wouldn't it be a good idea if Forest Moon Paranormal were to try to have some kind of contact with this race? Because it sounds like they're trying to do intergalactically one of the things that Forest Moon Paranormal is trying to do here at home, and be a support group for abductees.
We'll have to do some more research on that race.
Imagine. Yes, the extent of the knowledge that they have. Wow.
I'd be curious.
Interesting question.
And they got to be in Arizona. They're not going to leave stray too far from their own if we have one that's captured.
The interesting question that I have in all of this, with all these different races, all having their hand in seeding the earth. Now, with our differences in races, Oh, I just heard an echo.
Yeah.
With our differences in races here on Earth, is there any chance that a particular alien race may have been responsible, for example, the African people and the Chinese people and the Irish people and the Japanese people,
Well,
Swedish people? Because we say we have the, I'm wondering to that extent.
And we have this alien
Could
race is dark skinned. That alien race is Norse. This alien race is blue. It's highly possible.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. 22 races.
Because when you look at and this is funny, I have to mention this. Jenna is somewhat of a makeup artist. She knows a lot of people. One of her friends actually is a very popular YouTuber. I don't know if she wants her name mentioned or not, but her friend's father actually designed the characters for the Grand Theft Auto video games. And she's with the in crowd of these makeup artists. And how does this play in? Well, I'm going to tell you, if you look at different people and different blood types and such like that medically, and I mean Markham, I would love to see Markham's take on this and have him wrap his head around this one, because we all have different undertones to our skin. And I'm not talking about this related to a medical condition, like someone with jaundice is having liver issues to some extent, or someone with rosacea may look a little more red. I'm not talking about that, but we all have different undertones to our skin. And there's even people like if you go into a place for makeup store, whatever, and if I say, okay, maybe I just want to cover these scars, they're going to pay attention to the undertone in my skin. Well, how does this play in? Well, Coop, there's people who have a slightly yellow undertone, a slightly red undertone, even a blue undertone. And I'm talking, you take your average person who has an average health to their skin. I'm not talking someone, like me who has the night shift bags under the eyes and city miles on them. But you take your average person with these skin tones, and if we look at that, and if we could have someone who is seriously invested in this, who can correlate with Markham, maybe there is a way that we can find out our roots in these alien races based on these key factors.
Through DNA manipulation. If you look where the DNA,
we all.
If you look where the DNA comes
We've
from,
all seen that person. I mean, onward and forward, we know that there's someone who's had their hands in the pot. There's too many advancements that we've had on this earth that, I mean, I mentioned it before in the last program. I couldn't tell you exactly how this phone works that I'm having. I just know that it works, and I know what to do based on going into settings. I couldn't harvest the metals and put anything together like this myself if I tried. But someone who's a genius with a team of other geniuses is responsible for this technology. And, I mean, could you even imagine, Coop, taking something like Wi-Fi, something as simple as Wi-Fi, even to send a message, and to take it back to like 1984? People would think you're an alien. I mean, how far advanced? Something that's 10 years from now. I mean, I think in this day and age, our perception of what's coming in the future, we are at a technological standpoint here on Earth where, unless someone invents something super spectacular, we are almost at a boring age in technology, because we know, okay, phones are going to get faster, things are going to get smaller. We can kind of better predict things, whereas like in the 80s and 90s, I mean, it's like I was looking at one of the Predator sequels with Danny Glover, and the way they depicted 1997 in that movie, and it's like 1997, and Danny Glover's the main character in this one, and some of those technological leaps, like even the way they predicted Back to the Future,
Yeah.
when they had the little pill and put it in the oven and it turns into a pizza, and all this and that business. I'm thinking we now can have a more realistic prediction on what to expect technological wise. But it's up to us to figure out these things together collectively. Now, with these races all in check, I have found some interesting notes during this pre-recording. I think it would be worth it for you to, when you post and say, here's a recorded version of the show, go through some of these links that I've sent you, and you may even want to do an add-on half hour to this after all is said and done. You may want to add on to this with some of these things that I found, because I listen to you, and when I'm not speaking and I'm sitting here listening, the same as I would as I was listening to Spaced Out Radio, and then my mind gets working. And usually when I'm listening to SOR, I have the internet going, and Dave will say something, or a guest will say something, or a caller will raise a question. Next thing you know, I have 60 windows open, and my research is on fire, man.
All right. All right, so we got the Sirians from Sirius A. This is a blue-white star, which is approximately 8.6 light years away, 20 times brighter than the sun. It's the most brilliant star in the night sky. The humans here are called Katay, Katayy. They are considered benevolent. Many of them are red-skinned. Here we go again, red-skinned. Their ancestry is from some of the Lyrians that escaped with the women and children during the war. In their oceans, they have whales, sharks, and octopus. They are a very artistic race. They have music and are connected with nature. They are builders and operate political. Their governments are based on spiritual technology, which uses sound and color. They are original builders of our grid. The architecture which Earth is based upon, they are good allies to have, as they can rebuild our grid to fit the new challenges we will have. Then we have the Sirians, or SAM, S-A-A-M. The Sirians were seeded and evolved much later than the Aryans, as a younger star race but much older than the humans. They are apparently a wolf/reptilian species, but also with feline features. Both females and males have golden brown, dark or red manes. Their ancestors were wolf-cat-like creatures. This is also where we get the name Dog Star for Sirius. We can get a hint of how they look in the Sumerian tablets. Here you go, Sumerians. Interesting to note here how Sirius is also the planet that Washington, D.C., our capital, is also all built and constructed, so everything points as Sirius, which leads to this is the species our founding fathers and Illuminati worship. And again, go back to the S4 Illuminati show. We talk about all that. So again, you see how this parallels. A lot of this all parallels together. And now we have the Sirians.
It all ties in.
It does. You have the Sirians from Sirius B. Human-looking as Sirius B is a binary star system. According to Collier, some are red, beige, and black. The planets around Sirius B are arid and generally occupied by reptilian and aquatic-type beings. There's an African tribe called the Dogon tribe, the Dogon. which had an intricate understanding of the Sirius system, as it was given to their ancestors by advanced ET from the Sirius star system. The Dogon described the Sirians as being amphibians from a planet around Sirius B. The racial characteristics of the humans from Sirius B suggest a star system Vega. Preston Nichols, who claims to be a whistleblower and involved with the Montauk Project, claims the humans from Sirius B played a role in exotic technology from the Montauk Project and Philadelphia Project, as they gave time interdimensional travel technology. They also biological material, for example, the virus from the Ebola virus came from Sirius B. According to another whistleblower, Daniel Salter, who was also in the National Reconnaissance Office there, was a branch off of the NSA called Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization. So look up the ACIO. Information from a whistleblower site called the Wingmakers comes info that ACIO is cooperating with a group of ETs to develop time travel technology for future ET threats. Overall, the Sirius B humans have seemingly been here for the help of governments in developing or in defending Earth from future ET attacks. The negative implications of those from Sirius B have been covert weapons research, use of exotic technology, and abuse of civilians in time travel experiments. So there we have the Sirius, Sirius, star system races. Anything to add before we go on to the Procyon?
Anything to add? Yeah, actually. When it comes to, the first thing I thought when you mentioned the aliens with the red skin and they're connected with nature and they have art, music, I'm thinking Native American.
Yeah, First Nation.
First and foremost. Then I'm also, we have our good and our evil races. But you have to wonder, in the good and the bad themselves, and this is for you guys to think on and respond to. Here's a question of the day from me. Are there any groups within these races who cut against the grain? Any groups as a collective, maybe not as influential as the Council of Five as a whole, but maybe they cut against the grain and they're doing their own inner workings. Something to think about.
Yeah. And this is all going to lead to further shows because there's definitely a whole lot we can dig into with all this stuff.
Yes.
The next one we have is the Procyons. That's Procyons. The Procyon is a binary star system, approximately 11.4 light years from Earth. It was the fourth planet in that the Regalians had started their new colony. This new colony flourished until the Greys from Rigel tried to subvert Procyon. The Greys slowly infiltrated Procyon a little at a time until they took it over. And if you look, I get asked by people occasionally, well, do you think the reptilians are in our government? I'm not going to say they are. I mean, everyone points at Queen Elizabeth being reptilian, and I'm not going to go there. I'm just not. I know they're here. Are they taking over human form and infiltrating the government? I'm not going to go that far. Who's to say? Well, only time will tell. But that is the modus operandi of the Greys and the Reptilians, is to infiltrate a society slowly and then take it over. They've done that to other races. They've done that to other star systems. I think we have enough benevolent races here that'll keep that from happening. So some escaped using advanced time travel technology using multidimensional consciousness something the Greys could not duplicate due to their depleted genetics. Now, talking about depleted genetics, that's where the hybrid system, or the hybrid program, comes from. The Greys are supposed to have depleted genetics. Now, it depends on which side of the fence you fall on. Some think the Greys are actually just a slave race or robotics for the reptilians. Others think they're their own race. Me personally, I fall on the side of the fence that thinks they're their own race. That's supposed to be where the hybrid program comes from, though, is that they have depleted genetics, so they created hybrids using human DNA through abduction to create their own race. And that's kind of where I fall as far as the thought process, based on the abduction experience. If you want to dig into that farther, look up Dave Jacobs' Secret Life of the Abductee. It's just called Secret Life. Good book, great for the beginner. Now, these would be relevant to how we could fight them on Earth. The Greys have the ability to throw Earth out of orbit.
Mm-hmm.
According to Collier, the Prokians have recently liberated their world from Grey influence. So in conclusion, the Prokians' main activity is in effect resisting the extraterrestrial subversion by developing a multi-dimensional consciousness using mind imagery to protect oneself from extraterrestrial mind control. Now, I hear that. That's what shielding is. Mind imagery. And that's how we as paranormal investigators, as a team, shield ourselves from spirit manipulation or attachments, is mental imagery to create shields around us. So, that's not far-fetched. So, using mind imagery to protect oneself from extraterrestrial mind control and monitoring unfriendly extraterrestrial activity. The global solutions that the Prokians can assist in include exposing extraterrestrial subversion, helping in global secrecy to the extraterrestrial presence, promoting multidimensional consciousness, deprogramming mind control, promoting universal human rights, and developing the internet and global communication. So that's the Prokians. Next we have the Pleiadians. Now, if I remember right, the Pleiadians are the ones that are supposed to be inside Mount Shasta. So the Pleiadians come from the solar system around the Pleiades stars, more precisely the planet Era, E-R-R-A, near the star Taygeta, which is spelled T-A-Y-G-E-T-T-A. They are associated with spiritual growth and can grow up to 8 foot tall. They practice sex cultivation. The distinct difference between their sexual expressions and their sensual emotions. Their ships are known as beam ships. They visit Earth regularly but have remained mostly silent since 10,000 BC, and they are one of the oldest known races. They continue to develop necessary mental skills to reach a higher spiritual state. Billy Meyer, here we go, also met with the Pleiadians, who migrated between a number of star systems before settling with the Pleiades constellation. They are the race that created the known space arcs. There was a great devastation with their system in which a third of them survived. One of these space arcs is one in which Billy Meyer saw in Switzerland. Again, I think we can hear about that on the Contactee show. The particular star system Meyer's Pleiadians came from was Taygeta, and the main planet is Era. The Pleiadians from Taygeta identified Myers as one of their chosen representatives with a mission to bring the truth of the ET presence to humanity. Some Jace was a Pleiadian female who made contact with Myers, explained they are not guardians of Earth, they're not angels, nor similar. They have nothing to do with the fates, nor supervising what goes on Earth. Their main purpose is to warn humanity about the Greys. They are known for attacking and destroying everything that gets in their way. They have been known to destroy entire planets and put the natives in bondage. That's in reference to the Greys. According to Collier, the Greys and the Pleiadians have been in armed skirmishes in the solar system and other systems such as Sirius B. Other aspects of their mission are to assist in the uplift of human consciousness and to promote the unity of religion. Honestly, I don't think they're doing a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have the
They got
Lyran.
their work cut out for them.
Oh yeah, they do. Most definitely. So now we have the Lyrans. They come in all shapes and sizes. There is said to even be a redhead species. They were driven out of their star system several thousand years ago, where they relocated to several different areas. They were one of the original ancestors to our galactic family. So they were a highly technological species that broke off into factions within their culture and went to war with each other. Some of the Lyra left in starships to colonize the Pleiades, the Hyades, and the Vega star systems. The region may still be a battleground between Saurian Greys and humans. Some of the Lyrans also came to Earth during the Lemurian and Atlantean period. So Billy Meyer was the first contactee to describe Lyra from his alleged visitations from the Pleiadians from 1975 to 1986. According to the Lyran, humans were started in Lyra and thrived for 40 million years evolving. We were agricultural and we were peaceful. The Lyrans possessed Nordic features and maybe the Elohim, as described in religious traditions both on Earth and around the galaxy. They are seen as the galactic historians for the human species. Lyran's main activities are in disseminating the unique history of the human race in the galaxy and assisting in understanding human motivation and potential. Globally, the Lyrans provide accurate information on human history, galactic history, discovery of human essence, diplomacy, and conflict resolution, and global education. So now we have the Gizan, Gizan. The Giza people have been referred to by the Pleiadians, Billy Meyer contacts, and others. Strange species have been seen in deep caverns beneath Egypt, seen by explorers. They are dressed as ancient Egyptians. There's a huge cavern beneath Egypt that is occupied by many involved in the U.S. secret government. This is also coming from leading edge research. Google that, leading edge research. The Giza people may be a controlled society, with the reptilians being the D. White Dracos. Home planet is orbiting Thuban, Thuban, largest race of the Dracos, known in Sumerian texts as the Kingu Babar. They are creator gods in their own right and are the creators of the reptilian species now spread over Sector 9. The Babar are loners and opponents of the Sirians, not human-friendly either. They are known as aggressive, won't hesitate to kill, but also have no immediate plans to take over the universe, as the Sirian alliance does. They are present in our solar system on occasion, and the Sirians leave them alone. And I believe we went over the Tausetians already, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Actually, I'm gonna go over these notes real quick. This is a different part. More about the Cetians. They are a race of tan-skinned human appearing from South America or Mediterranean. I think we can agree with that from the earlier. Slightly pointed ears. Now, slightly pointed ears. Who do we know has slightly pointed ears? Fairies.
Elves.
Yep.
And fairies, yes.
Exactly.
Gnomes.
Yep. Gnomes. High physical density and size. The nose is slightly broader, 5'5" tall, and often wear crew-style haircuts. In partnership with the Pleiadians, have federated alliance with the Vagans, Umites, and others. They have been victimized by the Greys. They are very defensive against the reptilians and have been at war with the Lizzies. In 1920, and that's why I brought these guys up again, a contactee was told about the Norcans, a blonde race circling Tau Ceti and migrated to Earth around 14,000 years ago. So Tau Ceti is also where scientists have been receiving clear radio signals. You don't hear that on CNN.
Nope. But you hear it here.
Yeah. And I bet you would find it if you Google it on other news sources. So the Alabram live on a planet beyond the Andromeda Galaxy. They have a similar appearance to humans, both larger diaphragms and lungs. Oxygen is weaker on their planet. Their birthing process is unlike ours in that they gestate in their stomachs for a shorter period of time than us and then regurgitate the fetus when it's time. The baby is extremely small.
There's a species of frog that does that.
Mm-hmm. The baby is extremely small. Reaches maturity in 7 years. They have large brains and absorb information through osmosis. They're very telepathic. They grow their food on our planet in caverns and caves, as the sun on their planet is so hot it would burn the plants. So in my footnotes, I'm questioning, was this the species involved with Philip Schneider? Because his dad was in the Philadelphia experiment. And that particular race that his dad took the picture of sounds awfully familiar. Now you got the AFib. And we're going over, I understand this is a lot of duplication from our other show that we did. But these correlate with the 22 races that seeded the planet. And that's why we're going over them again tonight. Kind of to reiterate. So the AFib come from the constellation Lyra. Call themselves AFib Spiansky because of a war they had fought against a race called the Splansky. The Splansky had 12 times more members and 35 times more ships and resources than the AFib. But they still won. So they added the Splansky to the end of their race name as a warning to others. Now these guys have blue spotty skin, darker for males, lighter for females, and they are a very small species. Their planet is called Crimea Alpetri. And they are highly technologically developed and can get here from their planet in 20 minutes. They don't need oxygen, as a large percentage of their planet is hydrogen. They have colonized 10 planets non-violently, when close to humans cannot be seen unless they want to, but humans will feel anxiety when they are near. Their ships are small spheres, and they come here to study human deviation, which is important to them in determining the further development of the human race.
Now they run their hydrogen. They don't need the oxygen, you said.
Yep.
Well, I have a point and counterpoint. The first person is going to say, well, with the hydrogen itself coming to our planet, they could extract that straight from the water. They could extract it from other molecules. Now, they can get here in 20 minutes, you say, from their home location.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, I would love to do extensive research on their technology as we know it, based upon any interactions we have had with them, or notable people who have had interactions with them. And I'm also thinking as an educated guess that if we know that they can get back and forth here in 20 minutes, then chances are, I'm wondering if they're the most likely of alien races that we have been in discussion with in terms of a traveling technological share.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. We're going to wrap up the show tonight, and we're done with ancient aliens for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be coming back to it next week. I just looked at my calendar, and next week we're actually going to talk what's up with Pine Gap, Australia, Area 51, Dugway Proving Grounds, and Wright-Patterson. What are they doing? And why?
That's going to be interesting.
Why are we looking at Wright-Patterson? Well, Wright-Patterson is supposed to be where they have the secret soldier project underneath the base. So be looking at those. Are you on the are you off next week?
Yes, I am.
Good. Then study up on those topics.
Oh, definitely. I have a little bit of a backlog in knowledge of some of those. Oh boy. We're in for some interesting times. That's going to be awesome. Glad to be here, guys and girls. This is a wrap, of the pre-recorded program.
And
this one wasn't my strong suit.
Oh, but you did great, and it was a good show.
Yes, we're gonna enjoy. That's all the fun of learning. I came away from this a little smarter. And now my head's spinning. I'm gonna have a lot of research, a lot of fun stuff to do. And for all you guys listening, I just want to say personally, I appreciate the living hell out of you. And I want you guys to study. One thing I'm big on, and I don't know how many of you guys have listened to any of my programs before, but one thing I'm big on is feedback. And if you guys want to leave me a message, you want to comment on Facebook, maybe you have me as a friend, maybe you don't, go ahead and add me. But when I ask these questions in the middle of the program, like if I say, hey, Coop, I wonder about this, that's also a cue for you guys. Seth, when you pose that question in the middle of the program, here's what I came up with. I'm going to come on the air and I'm going to say, Joe and his pointy stick brought up a good point about that topic.
Or tripping.
But, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, guys, it's a wrap on my end. From the winding hills of central New York here, I'm going to tell you guys good night, and I'm going to leave Coop to close.
All right. Thank you for jumping in there, Seth. Always awesome having you as a co-host. And with that,
by God,
I hear the music.